Zenith Bank plc is a leading financial institution in Africa. At the helm is Godwin Emefiele, who joins me now. Godwin, you've been with Zenith since its inception in 1990, so what would you say have been the bank's key achievements in that time?
If you consider the fact that in 1990 when we opened shop with just $120,000 as seed capital, and today the bank's shareholders' fund is over $3.5 billion, we have done very well. During the first year, the bank's profitability was well below $50,000. And as of 2012, the bank had a profitability of almost close to about $600 million. We have come a long way. Those are some of the achievements that I think we've had in the last 23 years, and we will continue to work hard to sustain this level of profitability.
Those are fantastic results, but how did you achieve them? What would you say are the key strategies to developing a bank in Africa?
First of all, you have to ensure that you are a well-capitalized institution. Two, you have to ensure that the level of risk management practices in that institution is very high, to ensure that as you create risk assets particularly, that you do so in a very prudent manner such that your non-performing loans ratio becomes very low. You have to also ensure that you are a very liquid institution. Once you are a liquid institution, you are well capitalized, your risk management practices are strong, you will naturally be profitable and you will be a successful bank in Africa.
Let's talk about Nigeria specifically then. You've got the largest population in Africa, the third largest economy, and you've been achieving growth results of about 7% for the last 10 years. What needs to happen for Nigeria to become a hub for international investors?
We will need to focus more on non-oil areas of generating revenues, improve on our investments in agriculture. And luckily, we've seen government divesting it from power. We've seen government divesting from telecommunications. We need to also see how government can divest from even other areas of infrastructure, because what you find is that when government removes its hand from some of these core areas of the economy, what you find is that private sector institutions will come in, invest in them. Nigerian banks feel more comfortable lending to those private sector institutions. Cash flows can be properly ring-fenced. And as banks lend to private sector institutions, naturally, it will lead to improved productivity. Price levels will be stable. And of course, general employment levels will be improved upon. And what you find is that you will achieve double-digit growth in the economy.
Is the same true for the rest of Africa? What has to happen across the continent for it to unlock its full potential?
If you compare Africa to other parts of the world, for instance, take inflation say in America, in China, in Japan, inflation levels are very low. And I think what we need to do, I think the monetary and fiscal authorities need to take a look at how do we ensure that we keep inflation low. To keep inflation low, what policies have we put in place to ensure that we achieve price stability? And what are we doing to ensure that we improve the level of employment in our environment? How are we improving on the level of security? Even though security is a major challenge in any part of the world, not just in Africa, once we are able to put some of these policies in place, then you will begin to see even improved growth in Africa than you've seen in the past.
And what about the banking sector? What do you have to do to support that growth?
You will find out that banks are more comfortable lending money to private sector people. Private sector people who have their own equity, bringing their equity into their business. And once banks begin to find out, yes, there is equity, and these are private sector people that they can deal with directly, of course, they will be able to lend money to these institutions. And as they lend money to these institutions, you can begin to see growth. You can see employment levels. You can see productivity improving in the economy.
Zenith's vision is to build a reputable international financial services network. How are you going about this?
Well, I will say that we are doing this gradually. If you consider the fact that other than Nigeria, we have office subsidiaries in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, in Gambia, and also in London. And of course, we also have rep offices in South Africa and China. I will say we are doing this, but we will continue to do so. We will try and see how we can grow our franchise in some other countries in Africa and also in more countries in Asia. But of course, our strategy has always been that we will only go to environments or into countries where we think we've done our studies very well, and then those propositions are viable. So that is basically our focus. But of course, there are still other strong opportunities in Nigeria if you consider the fact that Nigeria is an emerging market. I mean, today, we believe there's a lot of infrastructural gaps that we think that if banks like Zenith focus on them, we still can grow our franchise and our level of profitability.
On that note then, what are the plans for the future? The
plans for the future for the bank is to see how we can focus more in providing excellent customer services to our customers. What we've done in the last 23 years is to ensure that we employ the best hands, support them with technology, to ensure that we provide excellent customer services to our customers. And we are very optimistic that for as long as we're able to provide excellent customer services to our customers, profitability will be taken for granted.
Godwin, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.